going on in the United States in 2025 that has us talking about constitutional crisis. And here I want to start with a brief, sympathetic explanation of the view of Donald Trump. And I want to be as clear as possible. I believe this is the view of Project 2025. It's the view of some of the intellectuals at the Claremont Review and other conservative places that have really embraced the Make America Great Again philosophy as not just a slogan that you put on a baseball cap in order to get elected, but as a key insight into the need to revive and restore the old and now frayed constitutional consensus. And so on this view, what Donald Trump is doing is not creating a constitutional crisis, but responding to a constitutional crisis that originates in the 20th century, that long predates his presidency, and that he is in fact therefore operating according to the values of an old constitutional consensus that needs to be revived. So I don't know if you've seen this. There's a post on Truth Social from Donald Trump last night. He who saves the country does not violate the law. And this appears to be, yeah, the sharpest, the most direct, the most elegant expression of this implicit new constitutional doctrine, which is to say that the country, the Constitution, have been degraded over the last 50 to 100 years, and that the work that Donald Trump is doing is actually saving the country and the Constitution, not attacking it. So the idea, going to be brief here, that in FDR's presidency, part of the reason FDR flirted with a constitutional crisis is because he tried to graft an administrative state into an 18th century constitution and ultimately succeeded, although, of course, the Supreme Court struck down again and again and again all of these pieces of New Deal legislation. Ultimately, the people elected and reelected FDR and the New Deal Democrats, and in so doing, expressed to the Supreme Court, we agree with the president and the Congress and not with you. We are the ultimate sovereigns. You need to get out of the way. And ultimately, the Supreme Court did get out of the way, and we have now all of these administrative agencies that are created by Congress and managed by the president, but frankly create in the executive branch a huge number of civil servants who have appointments that allow them to work independently from the will and agenda of the president. That is to say, they are given authority to do what Congress tells them to do, despite the fact that they're members of the executive. And so one understanding here, and it does seem to be in part the deeper constitutional theory behind the slogan, is that this is an unconstitutional abridgment of executive authority for the executive not to be able to control the agencies located in the executive branch. The president needs to have the authority to fire all of the 2.2 million people who work for the executive branch if he wants to. He only currently has the power to appoint about 4,000 of them. So it's a right. I think one of the things we're seeing with Elon Musk and the Department of Governmental Efficiency offering these buyouts, but then Trump and the people he's appointed firing tens of thousands of federal employees. The idea here is no, the president is in charge of the executive branch. That's what the Constitution says. What the Congress and the president and the courts agreed to under the old constitutional consensus, I no longer agree to, and I think I have the better understanding of the Constitution, right? And so that is either going to prompt a constitutional crisis if Congress and the courts don't agree, or if the people don't agree, or it's going to produce a new constitutional consensus, which at least the exponents of this view believe is actually not new. It's returning to an older and more legitimate, more original constitutional consensus.